Hello everyone. So this is the start of the Letter Diaries workshop, and this video is going to be a little shorter, but then I'm going to be back tomorrow to continue where I left off from. I have been working very hard on adding to the digital collection. I have it available, and if you are a subscriber to the deluxe quarterly kit, you will get this for free. If you are not a deluxe quarterly subscriber, then I will have the link below and you can purchase the digital and follow along with me. Now, as you can see, there is a lot in this kit, and that's one reason why it's been a little over a week since my last video. But as I stated in my last video that I would be starting the Letter Diaries workshop starting today, and I wanted to stay on track. And so, yes, I thought I could get everyone started, get to the digital. There is a lot of fussy cutting, as you can see. Look at all this beautiful ephemera. And I will be offering this in the physical digital packs as well. So if you're wanting the physical packs, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and put it on a pre-order. But look at all the ephemera. I have been busy, busy, busy. This took me so long to do. Lots of ephemera. And again, I will be offering a pre-order on the physical ephemera packs for this. And those will probably ship out in a couple of weeks. I have to get the kits shipped out next week, so after I get that done, I can start getting the ephemera packs ready to ship out if you're wanting one of these ephemera packs. It's huge. I might even have to break it up in 2 separate ephemera packs because this is so large. Look at, again, all of the ephemera. Even if I put it in 2 separate packs, it's still going to be like 2 huge ephemera packs. I had to do a lot of ephemera for this folio, and I'll show you a little preview of how this is going to come together. But as you can see, I just kind of want to show you all of the beautiful ephemera that comes in the kit. So you can purchase the digital kit, or you could purchase the ephemera packs. So as you can see, lots and lots of ephemera. There is just a little preview of all the ephemera that comes in the Letter Diaries collection. So if you're a deluxe quarterly subscriber, you will receive a code and you can get the digital collection for free. And the code can only be used one time and one time only. If you are not a subscriber, then of course I'll have the link down below and you can purchase the digital collection that has all of this beautiful ephemera and the papers. This isn't even the entire collection. There's the papers that come in the collection as well. And I showed that in the introduction video. I did add a few more papers to it. So there's this. And I added this, and I did put her portrait as well as landscape. I just really thought this was pretty. I loved the gold background, and same with her, put her in a portrait and landscape. So those are some additional papers that I have added to the collection, as well as some of the others that I showed in the previous collection as well. I just don't have them all printed out, but the collection is huge. There's so much to this collection, but it is a lot of ephemera. So when I was deciding on how I wanted to start with this folio, I went ahead and I created, you know, the outer sections of it, and then I did do the pocket, and I thought I better not do that because I ran into trouble with the coffee folio where I didn't have enough width because I ended up adding a lot more to it than what I had thought. So rather than doing, you know, the outer sections of the folio, we are going to start with the inside sections. Now, this is a folio, again, that my mom did, if you've seen the previous video. And what I'm going to do is I kind of got this idea, because I was inspired by what my mom did here, and I wanted to create 3 of these kind of flap sections here, mixed in with some signature journal pages. So what I have done so far, and what we are going to do in this part 1 of this workshop, is we are going to create the intersections. Now I have 1 of these done. We're going to do 3 of these, and so there's going to be a lot to this. We are just going to have fun, take our time with this, and we are going to do what we can do within, you know, I'm thinking 50 minutes to an hour, however much I can get done in that time frame, and then we're just going to go from there. But I have all sorts of fun things planned for this intersection. And one of the things that I did get done is, you can see I have these flaps and I have these pockets, and all of that's done. But in between here is where we are going to stitch in our signatures, our journal signatures. So we'll have a journal signature here, and we'll have a journal signature here. And then this section right here is, this will attach to the inside part of our folio. So we have this hinge built here, so we can attach that to the left side of our flap. You know, like so. And so, yes, we will have 3 of these sections laid out in our folio. So let's go ahead and let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do, you're going to want to print out the collection, because there is a lot of fussy cutting that will need to be done. And I mean a lot. I did a lot of ephemera. I have some where you can see I'm building out the next section here. But there is so much ephemera to this collection. Alright, so once you get everything printed and you get all this stuff neatly cut out, and I do really quickly want to show one thing before I go into the next steps of this folio, is I wanted to show when you are cutting these out. So here's one of the sheets with some ephemera, and these have flowers, and I chose this one because it's got all of these finer leaf sections here. And so when you're fussy cutting this out, I just wanted to show really quickly what you can do, because you really don't have to be super precise when you're fussy cutting all of this out. So when you're going into these leafy sections, cut into the design just a little bit. And sometimes I just cut the leaves off and think, oh yeah, I don't really need all those leaves, so I might just skip all of them and just go into cutting the flower. And so I did want to mention that, but as you can see, it goes pretty quick. Just, again, cut into the design a little bit. And then, like, maybe I want that leaf. And so we'll keep that leaf. And again, I'm just going into the design just a little bit. The only time you don't want to do that is when you're fussy cutting out sections of, like, facial features or things like that. You definitely do not want to go inside of the design on any sorts of areas like that. But everything else, yeah. I mean, I just, like right here, I'm just going to, you know, go around it. And if it's too much of a hassle, yeah, just cut it off and just go with the flower. And so I did want to mention that it's up to you, but you know, it is a lot of fussy cutting, and so just to kind of save some time, or if you're just getting frustrated with fussy cutting or you don't like it, don't worry about, you know, having every leaf cut out or, you know, every single detail cut perfectly. because when this all gets together and after we embellish things with trim and so forth, it's really not going to be noticeable. So I did want to mention that when you're doing all of this fussy cutting. And again, you can see I'm going into the design just a little bit, and then we'll even just take that leaf off, and then there you have it. And then you can go in and clean up a few little sections if you feel like, yeah, that needs a little cleanup. Or if you want to add a little more shape to something, like the flower, maybe you want to define some petals a little more, so you can go in and just add in some little more defined areas. But I did want to mention that because, again, when you get this, you might be, oh my gosh, you really expect me to cut around some of these leaves? I don't think so. So yeah, don't be afraid to just go and cut some of the leaves off and make it nice and simple. Here's another one. Again, I just want to show, just going into shapes and cutting into the design a little bit. And then again, on the face, we're going to go actually a little outer from the design, because I really don't want to take up any parts of her nose, lips, or anything. And so just go a little bit outside of the design when you're doing facial features, but everything else cut into the design. In some areas, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to cut all that out. No way. So I just cut into it. See, take some things off. Not a big deal. And we're just going to go straight to the flower. And there we go. So again, when you're fussy cutting, just an easy way to do all of that. So I did want to show that before all of you, print it out and then you go to fussy cut and you're thinking, yeah, you're insane, lady, if you think I'm going to cut some of this stuff out. That's how I did it. The first thing that we're going to do is start building the inside flap section of the folio. So we're going to be doing 3 of these sections like this. And so we'll have our flap here. This is where we're going to have a journal signature. We'll have another flap with all our pockets and beautiful journal cards, things like that. And then another signature. We'll stitch that there. And then this is the back section. And we will have this extra hinge here, and we will be able to connect these flap sections like so. And we're going to do 3 of these. So we are going to have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 journal signatures that we'll end up doing, and then we have all these beautiful flap sections. And look how pretty this looks once you get everything in there and decorated. You got your, flaps and lots of journaling space. These little pockets. Again, I left everything blank on the other side because I wanted journaling space. We have our tags here. Just lots of really fun things. And so let's go ahead and let's build out our 3 flap sections. Okay, so I have some heavyweight cardstock. This is like a pale pink color. And I will have some of this in the kits for those of you who have kits coming. If not, you could use white or whatever color cardstock that you want to use, but just make sure that it is a nice heavyweight cardstock. So I'm going to just cut this down to 4.5 inches in width by 11 inches in height. So with this leftover piece, I'm going to cut that at 3 inches and then again leave it at the 11 inches in height. And then we have this leftover piece here which we're going to use later to create a hinge with. Then you're going to want to take another piece And this time you're going to cut one piece at 2.5 inches. And again, you're going to leave it at the 11 inches in height. So just cut it down to 2.5 inches in width by 11 inches in height. And then the next piece is going to be 2 inches by 11 inches. So 2 inches width, 11 inches in height. There's all the pieces that you will need for your flap section, and you're going to want to do this 3 times. So we're going to start with our 4.5 inch piece. First score mark is going to be at 5/8 of an inch, and then the next one is at 1 1/4. And then I'm going to score the other side, just because this is really heavyweight cardstock. Okay, and then we are going to want to fold at the score line. The next piece is our 3-inch piece. Our 3-inch piece, we're going to want to score at 0.5, so 1/2 inch, and then 1 inch. And then the same thing, we're going to want to fold at the score lines. Okay, and then our 2.5 inch piece by 11 inch piece. This one we're just going to set to the side. We will not score that one. Then you have your 2 inches by 11 inch piece, and you're going to score that at 1/2 inch. So once you have everything cut and scored, you need to repeat that 3 times because we're going to create 3 of these. So to put it together, what you're going to do is you have your 4.5 inch piece, and where you have this scored section here, you're going to apply adhesive on the back side of that first scored section. Then you're going to take your 2.5 inch piece. Now there is no score lines on this piece, and you're going to attach it to your 4.5 piece where you applied the adhesive, and make sure that you are going below, just a little bit below the fold line. And your piece should look like this. The next piece is your 3-inch piece, and this has scored sections. And again, you're going to take this first scored section here, and flip it over and apply adhesive to the back of it. And you really should be using glue. I'm using my tape gun just to make this quicker, but yeah, you probably want to use glue because this is a hinged section. And then again, we're going to attach it to our piece here, the front of it. And you're going to want to go just below the folded line. So now your piece should look like this. The last thing that we're going to do is you have your 2-inch piece with your 1/2-inch score mark here. And so again, we're going to flip this over to the other side, apply adhesive. And again, you'll probably want to be using glue. I would recommend using glue and not your tape gun, like what I'm doing. I'm just trying to save a little time so we can get as much done as possible. All right, and then this is going to attach to the front. So we're kind of just repeating the same process each time. We're just going down in size with each piece. Okay. After you have that attached, what you're going to want to do is make another score at the 1-inch mark. And then fold at that scored section there. And what we're going to do is we'll probably end up cutting this, but I'm going to leave it for now because if we end up adding a little more than what I plan, we still have a little left here that we can work with, and I hate to cut it off and then run into trouble and have to add later. So for now we're just going to leave that, but this is where everything will get connected. So you have this here, we're going to connect, and then you have your piece here, and we're going to connect it. And I'm just not sure yet how wide I'm going to have our journal signatures be, so I'm just saving a little space if we want some bulkier journal signatures. So that is why I'm leaving it that way for now. But now you should have 3 of your flap sections all put together. And now we get to decorate. And this is the fun part. So take one of your flap sections, and we're going to be working off this first flap here. Now, you are more than welcome to change yours up from what I'm doing. Maybe you like something a little different. You can play around with the ephemera and assort it in different ways and do different things, or you can do yours like I have shown here. So I'm just going to again make a duplicate of what I did here, and some of these trims that I used, I tried to find them and I couldn't. So you'll have something similar in your kit to where you can add in some beautiful trims and things to embellish your flaps with. Alright, so I just have to look through all of my cut ephemera here. I found my ephemera pieces. I'm going to cut a piece, and it's going to be 3 3/4 by 3 1/4 of an inch. So So with the 3 1/4 inch at the top, I'm going to score 1/4 of an inch on each side. And fold this. And then I'm going to want to turn it and score 1/4 inch on the other side. And then I want to cut where it intersects, where there's that square there. And then I want to apply a dot of glue just to keep this closed. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and then when that dries, I'm going to attach this like so. And before I attach this, I do want to distress the back, and I'm going to use 2 distress oxides. I have Worn Lipstick and Tattered Rose, and I like to start with the Tattered Rose and then just go over little areas with the Worn Lipstick just to bring in a little more of that pink shade. But again, you could use whatever distress oxide you have. If you have Vintage Photo, you can use Vintage Photo. Now we can attach our pocket to our card. You want to make sure you have your card going the right direction before you glue your pocket down to it. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape gun to apply this down. I'm going to just use 1 strip of tape adhesive because if I want to move something, I will be able to pull that off of there. So I don't want to glue this down yet. I just am temporarily applying some adhesive just to hold it in place. This right here. So I really just need, you know, this much of a strip. Okay, and I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to cut about 3 3/4 of an inch. So that will go there, and then she will go there, and then this will go like so. I do have this other pocket going behind, so I have to do that first. So I have this pocket here, and then I used this as a decorative element. So we're going to do another pocket, and I need to find this piece right here. So I have this ephemera piece. I have some leftover black cardstock from my coffee folio project, and I'm going to use this. Let's do 2 3/4 inches by 4.5. So 2 3/4 by 4.5. We are going to score our piece So there's a lot of scoring in this because we're making a lot of pockets. I wanted to make it look decorative, but have it to where, you know, we can put things in it, make it interactive. All right, so we're going to do 1/4 of an inch. And then on the other side, 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to turn it and do 1/4 of an inch. So we're just going to do the same thing that we did with our last pocket. And then we're going to cut where that intersection point is. So we have this little square here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, we're going to apply a dot of glue here and here. And I got these little clips from the Dollar Tree. They work really good for stuff like this. And I'll just let that dry. So we're going to need another decorative strip right along here because this pocket is going to sit up like so. I'm going to just take another strip of this, and again, let's see, this time I think I will do 1.5 inches. And it's not going to be quite long enough, so I'm just going to center this like so. And before I attach this on this back side, I'm going to distress the edges, and then I can attach that. Now what I'm thinking is we could just create a nice big pocket and do some fun things that way. So I want glue right around there. And I want to go in a little bit because I do want this to lay down pretty flat. So, you know, about 1 inch in from each side with the glue. And then on the bottom, just as close to the edge as possible. And then we're going to center it. Make sure you go below that scored line and do not go on it, or you will run into big problems. And then we're just going to kind of stretch it, pull it at each end. Now we can attach our other pocket, and again, this one is going to go next to this pocket here. But we want to go up a little ways, maybe right about there. So just a little below this one. I need something behind here to hold this in place. So I think I'm going to get some of my pink cardstock, just a scrap piece, to help support that. So I'm just going to cut a piece the width of my pocket here. And I'm going to attach this like so. And I don't want to go over where this pocket is. So just right along that edge. Actually, I should have glued this. Apply some glue there. And I need to make sure everything is lined up. So when we're gluing our pocket down, make sure you only glue this bottom section right here and do not glue the sides yet. Just glue enough to hold this in place because we need to place things under here. So now we have this side here, and we're going to use this piece here. Okay, so we have our lady going like so, and then we have this, that'll be up like that. So we need to first put our decorative piece down. So I'm going to distress this, and you can distress your folio as well, which I'm going to go ahead and do because it's going to be easier to distress it now than after, you know, everything is on there. Apply just a little bit of glue. I don't want any edges sticking up, so you can go ahead and attach this, and then I am going to take my card later and attach that all the way down as well. I'm thinking I want to cover this with some decorative cardstock. So again, I just have a scrap piece here. Just happens to be the perfect length. I think I'm going to do that first. And the nice thing, as we're building these layers on here, it's really going to make all these pockets durable, and you know, it'll just kind of reinforce everything. Again, I'm going to apply a little bit of glue here. Make sure all those edges are nicely glued down. Okay, and so this piece, now I want this to go right up to that edge there, and we're going to go up just a little ways, so that is going to sit like so. Right about there. And so I want to make sure I'm only gluing this area here, and I don't put glue up here, because you want this back section to look somewhat nice because you will see it. And then I'm going to glue the bottom part of my tag. Just like so. I do need to lift that up just a little bit. This needs to be lifted just a little bit. And that will go like so. So we should have glued this one first. So when you do this, when you see this, do not glue this all the way down. This journal card, we are going to attach it right there. And again, we want to make sure we go below our score line here. So I'm going to apply glue to this section here. And I know I go a little bit down like so. And I'm going to just kind of spread that glue and line everything up. Again, make sure you do not go on the score line. It's so important. And this is going to tuck behind there, behind our blue label there. And then we can glue this down. So the next piece is Our Lady, and she is going to go right here like so. And I want to make sure that I do go down onto this pink card. We want to fill this little gap that we have here, and then the rest will be covered with some trim. But I do want to place her right about there, like so. I'm trying to go light on the glue, but I do want to make sure all those edges, you know, are nice and glued down, because you do not want any of these edges to lift up and tear after, you know, you're putting in cards and pulling tags in and out. So you do want to make sure everything is glued down really good. And I'm just going to put this edge a little over this edge here. And I'm kind of going right on the line there. That's how I'm lining that up. And we're just going to glue her down like so. And then we just have our trim that we're going to put right along here. I am going to kind of skip that for now until I get the trim that I'm going to be putting in the kits. Now we have our little tab that I want to put here. So on the sheet, you're going to see two. And the reason I did two is because I wanted it so you could have it on both sides. And so I'm thinking of just creating this little tab section up here. Now that we have all of this done here, we need to put our journal cards under our pocket here. And this is why we did not glue this section down here. So we have that going there. Maybe I'll do like this, and then we can do like that or something. Something like that maybe. I applied some tape adhesive to this, and I am going to slide this under our pocket and match it up with the back of our journal card here. And then I can glue this down. And then we have this piece, which is going to go under here. And I'm going to have to cut this down. So and I do want to make sure that I have this now attached. So I'm going to apply some glue to glue my pocket down now that I have everything in place. And then this is going to go right here. So I'm going to use my tape adhesive. And we are going to slide this under. Right below the pocket there, line it up. There we go. And then we will have this piece. I think we'll put this maybe, yeah, we'll just line it maybe with everything there. Maybe like so. And I think I'm going to create another little pocket there. So we are just going to glue here on the bottom and the side. And then again, we'll center this. Right about there. Okay, now I have my tabs here, and I do have my pocket. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Okay, and when gluing this down, just to make it easy, what I do, and I showed this before, is I just apply a little glue to a scrap piece here, and then any places where I need to tuck that glue under and slide it, I just do it that way. It's easier than trying to pull it up and get the glue underneath there. Now I have my tabs, which are going to go up here like so. So one's going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll put glue on the back here. And I think I'm going to place it right about there. And then I can apply my other tag here. I just mainly need glue on the bottom here. Put a little just for the heck of it. And we'll line those up. And there we have our tab. Okay, so we have our pockets here. I'm going to use this, and I am going to just place this inside of our pocket. And then I did place a tag here, and I will show you how we're going to make these. I did do some little reinforcements. I don't know where they are at this point, but yeah, once I find those, here we go. So I do have those, and I do plan on making the tag a little larger, but yeah, we can add in a tag with some reinforcements and, you know, put a little tag in there. But for now, you know, I think I'm just going to leave that there. I wanted to get this video out because I was getting worried. It's been a little over a week since my last video, and I've been so busy working on this and getting the digitals and everything that I just really wanted to get something started. But I will be back tomorrow, and we will finish up the rest of this and decorate some envelopes and things. And I'm going to see if I can get the trim for this kit. There's some I'm still waiting on. It's supposed to be here early next week, so I'm going to see what I ordered and what I'm going to have going in the kit, and we can decorate this up. But yeah, come tomorrow, we will finish this up, decorate the envelopes. I'll show you how I did this little flap here with the sack, and these will be in the kits. And then the CD sleeve, I need to decorate this up a little more. And so we will finish this up, but I just wanted to kind of get you started, have it to where you could, you know, have the digitals printed and get the ephemera, give you a little head start on everything, get you going, and just have it to where, you know, you have all of your flap sections done. And yeah, I'm gonna call that good for now. But again, I will be back tomorrow. We will finish this one flap section up. There's a lot to this, but as you can see, I'm hoping you can see all of the beautiful eye candy, and it's very interactive, and there's lots of pockets and tags and things like that that will be, you know, on these flap sections. And then I can't wait because we're going to have our journal signatures stitched in where these hinge sections are right here. So yes, there's a lot more to this, but I can't wait to see it all put together. And yeah, so far I'm loving the way it's looking, and I hope you all are too. So I will be back tomorrow, and I hope you'll be joining me. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I have been trying forever to get to 10,000 subscribers. I get to where I'm like 8 away, and now I'm back to like 13 away. I'm not sure what's happening, but if you could all just kind of help me, if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button, help me get to that 10,000 mark. It's been a goal of mine for so long. And I am back now doing a lot more videos, and I plan on doing them more regular. And, you know, I'm really taking my time, making sure that I'm doing really high quality videos and tutorials and beautiful projects. And so if you're loving these projects and everything, it's free. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have anything like that. I'm doing free tutorials, and one way you could really support me is just by hitting that like button and that subscribe button. I'll catch you back tomorrow. We'll continue from where we left off. Thank you so much for watching.